Once upon a time, two retired teachers decided to convert their garage into a pottery studio. Along with their daughter and son, they built a business around the idea that the world could use a little more art and a lot more artists. We're the Kaya family. Welcome to Wocky Pots. Hi everybody, how you doing? How you been? How are things? Shane and Diane here at Wocky Pot Studio for our coffee time number 61. Boy, howdy, what a week it has been. What are we going to talk about in this week's episode?
Well, you know, we worked a solid 5 days last week, which is exactly what I had wanted to do.
And we accomplished that goal.
We did. It was very nice. We made a total of 66 pieces last week.
I don't know if you remember when we first started doing this a long time ago.
Yeah.
But we made considerably less than that.
Oh my gosh, if we had a week where we made 20,
it was a success.
We felt like, yay! So, but in fact, this month, you know, because February has ended, it's now March 3rd. But for the month of February, we made a total of 160 pieces.
And we were kind of slacking a little bit. We probably could have made more.
Well, we had all that snow.
Right.
And so that one week, we didn't come out very much at all. So I'm like, ooh. 160, that's pretty good.
It's not bad at all. So let's talk a little bit about last week. So what do you want? Do you want to go first, or what do you want to talk about?
Oh, well, you know what? Let's talk about one of the things that was the most fun for me last week, and that was these little guys.
And throwing off the hump.
Yes.
If you remember last week's episode of Coffee Time, I had said that I wanted to plunk down a big lump of clay on the wheel and make a whole bunch of small things from that big lump of clay. That's called throwing off the hump. And Diana decided she wanted to get in on that action too. So we set our wheels up side by side, and I was using the Sheltoy Brown clay. Diana was using her Iceman clay. And it was a lot of fun. We sat down for a little less than 2 hours probably.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, you can certainly see the difference in our throwing. You know, you've got all of those, and here's mine.
But your pieces are perfect. And I had lots of flops. I had several that did not make it, especially there at the beginning. Yeah. But towards the end, I figured out the best way for me to get them off the wheel. And I think it was only the last 5 pieces that I made where I actually figured out how to do it. And that's the thing I'm going to have to show you guys at some point when I've thrown off the hump a couple more times. I'll show you the way we do that. For now, we were only making these little ketchup sauce bowl things. And I told you last week that I felt like we needed to make some of these little sauce bowls.
We do, because we didn't really have any of those. And I remember last year folks were asking if we had, they called them condiment
bowls, right? Yeah. And of course we're going to use them mostly for ketchup or maybe taco sauce if I'm eating burritos or whatever.
So, and of course you had that need. So
and we made them. Yeah. Now the next time we make them, we're going to try to make them a little taller or a little wider or whatever.
Well, and I know for me the problem that I had the most with mine was when I started, I was trying to use up clay that I had used in the hand building project the previous day, and I had just spritzed it with a little bit of water and stuck it in a bag, and I was trying to use it up, and I was fighting it, and I was pushing it, and it just...
Diana called me over to the wheel and asked what she was doing wrong. I said, well, let me get a feel for your clay. And I put my hands on the clay, and I said, you're not trying to throw with this clay, are you? And of course, the problem was that she had dry clay mixed in with wet clay, and it hadn't been wedged to a solid consistency. And there were hard bits of clay and soft bits of clay, and it's impossible to work with that kind of mess. So I told her to take that clay completely off the wheel. Don't get rid of it. Put it in a bag. We'll wedge it up and just let it sit for a while. But grab fresh clay, and she did. She grabbed some fresh clay, and it was way easier once you had that fresh clay.
Once I had the fresh clay. Well, I think only one bowl did I ever manage to get out of that first.
And that was really an accomplishment. Just you got anything out of it.
And then everything else just came smoothly out of that fresh chunk.
And the lesson is reclaimed clay is perfectly fine. But it has to be the same consistency, and it requires a lot of wedging if it's not at that consistency.
And I was a little impatient, so and of course I'm not the best wedger.
you like push on it 3 or 4 times and say, okay, we're wedged. And I think I'll be wedging when it's necessary, but my method of reclaim doesn't require that much wedging because I get everything completely saturated, let it soak for a long time, and then spread it out and wedge it up 5 pounds at a time, and it's not bad.
You know, you did reclaim this past week too.
That's right. The bags I'm looking
Yeah.
at right there, it's probably 15 pounds of reclaim clay, and it's going to work great. It's going to be perfect.
Yeah, I've been really super pleased with how well we've been using up every last bit of clay.
You can't see them. I don't have them
Yeah.
behind me, but I've made several largish bowls only out of the reclaim, and it's working great.
Yeah, so it was really fun, and it was not something I expected to be able to do, so I just felt so accomplished.
Yeah,
So,
well, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about it was the lack of getting up and moving around meant that my joints were a little stiff when I finally did get up.
but I had this one long board.
Wear board, right?
Yes,
The wear board.
that I was a nice long skinny one, and you know I felt
Felt like a professional potter.
Yes, I did. I felt like one of those production people.
Right,
Just,
yep.
like, going with
Well,
the
we
thing.
had a
So,
great
it was fun.
time. We had a great time throwing off the hump. Learned lots, and the next time we do it, and the next time we do it, and the time after that,
Yeah.
we'll just keep getting better and better and faster
Yeah.
and faster.
So-
And it was a ball.
It
That's not
was.
the only thing we did last week. Not by far.
No, and we had that day where we had people coming in and out all day long because they were making up glazing of the pieces that they had created. And so one of the things that I learned that day is you can't very well do anything else when you have people coming in
Right? Even if they're doing something
at different times.
that technically doesn't require a lot of input, there's still, you got to chase things around and open
Right,
jars and that
right.
kind of stuff.
So I did just a little bit of glazing that day. But
Yep. And
Anyway.
you made some other things too.
I
You want to talk
did.
about
I did.
this cup? Is
oh
what I
yes,
want to talk
isn't
about.
it cute? I love this. I think I want to call it a toasty tumbler. I think some people call them cozy cups, but I have one that is for your right hand to fit in, and then I have another one oriented the opposite direction, so your left hand would go in it. So
And-
I don't know what people's preferences would be.
Well, we'll find out. And you
So-
did tell me that you're going to make them with different sized pockets because my
Yes.
hand
I don't
wouldn't
know.
fit in that
Would it?
spectacularly.
No,
Although that's
probably.
not too bad.
Yeah.
It won't get all my fingers. But
Well, it doesn't get mine either. My pinky's left.
well, it's
So I guess my pinky will be cold.
it's a fabulous shape anyway.
But it is kind of nice to hold. I hope that after it's all done, it still feels this good to hold.
Yep.
So.
So you did that. I made
did.
a couple of these other cups, and these are kind of a different shape for me. I don't make this shape often, where it's wider at the top, or sorry, wider at the bottom. But I made a few of those, and there's a couple
Yes.
more that I have yet to put handles on. But I made those also. But I think we need to talk about our throwdown challenge
Yes,
we had
we did.
because even though we threw off the hump on one day, that wasn't really much of a challenge. We were just screwing around and trying to see what we could do.
Right.
But we've been watching the Great Pottery Throwdown
gosh,
again. Now it's
yes,
reruns
yes,
for us
yes.
because we've watched them all
Yes.
before. But that got us in the mood
Yeah.
for a little friendly competition thing. So we decided to set a timer for 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
And in that 1 hour, Diana would hand build and I would throw on the wheel
Yeah.
as many plant pots as we could in 1 hour. Now you'll notice that Diana is a super overachiever here. Her plant pots are gorgeous. I will show you close-up pictures of the
Yes.
textures.
I'll just turn this one though.
But they are fantastic. She did such a great job with those textures. And she
I
even
love that.
used our 3D printed texture roller that we printed ourselves.
Yes, on this one, it's like a cobblestone path type
Yep.
thing.
So you did great on it. You only did 3, but your 3 are way more
But
fancy
I
than
have
mine.
to be honest, I did not do 3 in an hour. I did 2 in an hour. I did this one with a little fluted edge rim, and then I did this one. This one, I had all the pieces cut out, and I had the texture on, but when that hour was up, this guy was not together.
I would still count
It
it.
took me another 10 minutes.
I
so-
would still count it.
But that's okay. So I was determined.
Yeah, I'm
was
going to say
trying.
you did all of those.
Yes.
And I did not substantially more, but I did 5. And they're all fairly small plant pots. And I think they're going to be great.
Yeah.
5 in an hour for something this large is really, that's kind of, I'm not displeased with it at all. I should be able to make them much faster than that. Of course, I should be able to, but
That's okay.
I'm not unhappy with it.
That's
and
okay.
the shapes are fun.
I like the little, I don't know what you call it.
Oh yeah, the little lines,
Yes, the
the
little carved
texture,
lines. Yeah.
the carved lines. Yep.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
And you have a little, is that a little, like U shaped, a little?
Okay, that's the drainage hole. So there's a hole in the bottom, and then to make it so that the water will drain out from under it, each one of these has an access thing where when you put water in and water your plants, the water will come out the bottom hole, and it will drain out onto the plate. I'll have a plate that goes under these as well. Each one of these will have a matching plate that goes with it, and the water will come out into that plate.
Yes, and I'll have plates under mine as well. But to get mine up in the air, I put these cute little feet on.
Yeah, mine don't have cute little feet.
But anyway, because I want the water to be able to dribble out.
So even though we made the plant pots, we still have a little bit more to do, like make the plates that sit on. But we'll glaze those so that they're all matchy and they look great.
But I like it, and it puts me in the frame of mind for spring. And, and we've been trying to look for little signs of spring, like the daffodils are starting to come up. But it's funny because we've had some super warm days, but there's a snowflake in the weather forecast.
I don't believe it. We are getting no more snow. We're getting zero more snow. I cannot believe we're going to get more snow. I think spring is on its way. And the little challenge that we did is that's going to be a normal feature for us. Every week, I think we're going to set a 1 hour challenge where in 60 minutes, we will do as many of a thing as we can. And maybe it's plant pots like this, maybe it's cups or bowls or hand-built decorative pieces, owls, perhaps sculptural things. But we're going to set ourselves up for a 1 hour challenge every week. And I think if Wednesdays weren't our day off, I'd say we would call Wednesdays hump day, where we only throw off the hump. Yeah. That would be fun also, and that's a great way to produce a lot of small things quickly. So it might be, those are a couple things that we're looking forward to as we move into our springtime and look at more and different things to do here in the studio. Yes,
and then of course with our highlight and our challenge, I'm going to talk about my challenge first.
Challenge first.
Okay. Challenge first. I know you put a message out yesterday on Facebook that coffee time wouldn't be happening.
We are a day delayed.
Yes, we're a day behind.
Diana's athletic competition was yesterday.
Athletic, yeah.
Diana's a bowler, and she's on.
I'm so glad you didn't say professional. I thought you almost did,
but I did not.
I had been invited to the Eastern Shore USBC
bowling tournament.
Senior bowling tournament. Let's get it out there, folks.
For old people.
Would you shut up? I'm not that old.
No.
But yes, I am a senior. Okay, so I qualify to be in this senior bowling tournament, and I went, guys.
She did not win, but she had fun.
Well, I have no idea who won, but I know when it comes in, I should be dead last. Let's put it that way.
Oh, but you had fun.
Because I didn't even get my average a single time. And it was really funny because I had to borrow the bowling ball from the bowling alley I normally bowl in.
She doesn't have a bowling ball yet.
Oh.
We got to fix that.
And so I borrowed their little 10-pound letter I bowling ball and took with me to the state of Delaware, where I went for this competition. And I had a grand time. My cousin was in it, her husband was in it, several of the people that I know from out here at the bowling alley. So we had a great time. But I have never bowled so fast in my entire life. Never. It was like speed bowling or
like
something. I'm in a senior tournament. I had no idea I should have prepared for a marathon because there was no time between bowling. I bowled 3 games.
You're spoiled.
Well, and I had to step up. There was a step. I had to keep stepping up to go up to the lane.
So Diana's challenge was her bowling tournament exhausted her.
I got home. I think at 5 o'clock I wanted to go to bed. At 7 o'clock I gave up and went to bed. And I have never been so sore in my entire life.
I don't bowl that much, although I'd like to bowl more. I'm not on any kind of a team or anything. So.
But my challenge is yesterday really made me realize how out of shape I have gotten with the winter. And if the market was starting and we had to set up, I don't know if I'd make it.
You'd have a challenge, yep. That would definitely be difficult.
So I've got to make sure I'm walking 2 miles a day.
Well, let me stop you and go into the highlights.
Oh, yes.
Because the highlight for me of the week on Saturday was I got to get on the motorcycle and go for a nice motorcycle ride.
That afternoon.
It was 69 degrees, which it was nice. And I really enjoyed getting out. And even though it was a little windy, I rode the motorcycle down to the Eastern Shore Community College, where a couple of my former students were set up with some of their artwork at this really awesome little art show. So Malik and India, it was fantastic seeing you guys at the community college, and hopefully I'll see you again at another event. You do great artwork. I'm very, very proud of you guys. While I was there, I had a chance to talk with a couple of other potters that were there. So it was nice to kind of compare notes and talk about pottery related stuff. But I also walked by a table where Nan Carlton, who is the writer and illustrator of this book, was set up. And she does the illustrations in her book. I'll show pictures, don't worry. She does the illustrations in her book by doing paper cutting. And since we do a homeschool art class, I thought it would fit very well with showing the students about the elements and principles of art. I'm going to use this in our class to teach them our art lessons. Remember, when we do the homeschool art classes, they're not about pottery, it's about art. And of course, the first round of classes for this year was the pottery, but all of our other classes now are going to be the elements and principles of art.
Yes, and this week's lesson focuses on lines.
On lines.
Hopefully we'll be able to take a few snapshots of work that gets done. And,
yep, for sure.
and
anyway,
share
it was
with
a real
everybody.
pleasure meeting Nan Carlton and seeing my former students there. So that for me was the highlight of the week. It was fantastic.
Very good. Also, when we're talking about that homeschool class, we've got that coming this week, but we also need to get a glaze load done. I have some pieces, I'm looking on that back shelf. I have some pieces that are ready to go in, but I certainly don't have a glaze load.
We have to be ready to start the kiln up at the very latest Wednesday morning.
Right.
And it's not going to be difficult to have pieces to glaze. We've got many pieces to glaze.
It's going to be difficult to find the time.
It's going to be difficult to find the time. And I am half convinced that I want to try dipping glaze on a few of the pieces. Not many, because it's a new thing for me and I don't want to waste a lot of pieces if I screw it up. But I would like to try dipping some of our pieces in an effort to save time.
Right. One of the key things with the dipping that I found is just put it in, take it out, depending on which one you're using.
So we'll talk about that.
Better I hate to say it, but it's better to be thin to start with, because if you leave it too long, you get crawling.
Well, and the other thing is,
you can always put more on and do it a second time.
If you have to, you can fire it again, right?
Right.
But if you get too much on, you can't fix that.
No. So, but yeah, that'll be a work in progress for sure. I'm looking forward to what we decide to do for our challenge.
I wonder what our challenge should be. Any ideas, you guys? For an hour, what should we try to make in an hour? What if we try to make the tallest thing we can in an hour? I'll bet you can hand build something way taller than I can throw it on a wheel.
Yeah, probably. That's probably not a good.
Except I can stack stuff. I wonder how tall I can make it.
No, we should try to find something we've never done before, because that way we're making something new.
Right. We should try a different thing. Anyway, we're looking forward to that this coming week.
Yes.
And that's going to be a weekly thing for us, where we have a challenge, and I think it'll add a little bit of excitement.
And we have only 10 weeks to the market now, so definitely have to start gearing up and getting in that mindset of making, bisking, glazing,
There's a
firing,
couple of other things we
getting
need to
that
think about
routine
too.
going.
Table covers. We need a couple new table
yes.
covers.
We need to check the tent because remember we got a hole in the corner last year. We probably can get by with just fixing it with some of our purple duct tape. So
we might be okay without a new canopy, but I don't think we're going to be okay with our table covers. I think we need a couple more table covers.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too because they were starting to gray and they were faded from the sun.
They were just like $25 or something like that. We can't expect them to last forever. And they worked fantastic.
They held up great. They really did. And they were nice because they were the stretch kind. And so they attached themselves. They just stretched over the table and you didn't have to worry about them blowing up in the wind. But there's that. And
new 3D printer is on its way.
Oh, that's right. We talked about it last week.
Just ordered that, so maybe by this time next week we will have printed some things that we can use here in the studio. I've already been sitting down and looking at, planning out things to do. And Diane and I actually sat down and planned out a stamp that we're going to try.
Right. And I want to do, I've been doing some more little doodly type things that I want to do, some just stamps to go on the sides of my things. We were
trying to do all this stuff on the iPad, and it's very difficult to work in Tinkercad on the iPad if you're used to using keyboard and mouse. So we've hooked the MacBook up to a big monitor, and we'll be able to design things and make some really great looking stuff. I hope, anyway.
Yeah, I hope so too. This afternoon, Carolyn is coming over.
Right, egg holders, right?
Yes,
egg trays.
Yes, she came. She wants to make these like egg cartons, but they're out of clay. And she was so excited the other day because she sent me a message. The duck had laid its first
So she has chicken eggs, and soon we'll have duck eggs.
Yes, so she was very excited about that. So I think she must really want to be able to use these herself.
Right.
So that'll be fun. But I plan on making a few extras to put on the table because, you never know. Someone else might like them.
Yep, for
and
sure.
Besides, it's kind of nice to have something that makes you smile when you use it. And I'm sorry, the little store-bought egg cartons don't make me smile, but I bet you a pottery one would.
Yep. Yes. Well, it'll be fun to make, and hey, maybe that'd be our challenge. Maybe.
That might be fun.
Maybe.
But yes.
Anyway, so do we have anything else we need to talk about?
I don't think so. I need to recuperate a little more.
Oh, I'm ready to get this day started. We're going to be making so much
not.
pottery this week. And we have to get the studio ready for our class tomorrow, which means putting things away and cleaning up and mopping the floor and that kind of stuff.
Right, making sure both tables are available.
Yep, and rounding up our materials. Tomorrow's lesson is on the line. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Yes, it'll be a great time.
All right, well, let's go ahead and sign it off and get ready to start the rest of our day.
Yes.
Okay?
That sounds wonderful.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate each and every one of you. For now, toodaloo, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Take care. See you later. Have a fantastic day no matter where you're at. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.